Awesome. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the Tyler Smith pod. I'm joined by my co-host, Kevin Jin. We got some new equipment, as you can tell. Kevin got a little wireless mic up here. I obviously got this big, huge mic in front of my face now, courtesy of Earlham College. So we're trying to improve the show here a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Good improvements. Good. Hey, shout out Earlham, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're in their facility right now. We're using their equipment besides our laptops. So eventually we'll get the show to be somewhat professional. But right now we're just winging it. We're trying to figure it out on the fly. So
Yep.
hopefully the audio sounds a little bit nicer. If you're curious, well, we still have our AirPods in so we can hear each other talk. But I hope it goes well. We're trying to make the show better for you guys. And for those of you who don't know, we are now live on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, which is pretty big deal to me. I think it's a pretty cool thing. Some hard work behind the scenes on both of our ends getting that done. Then obviously still here uploading on YouTube. So on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, you'll just get the audio version, unfortunately. But if you want to see our cute faces, mainly Kevin's cute face, tune into
Right.
YouTube. YouTube's always going to get it first. And then Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, we can get it shortly afterwards. But I'm sure you want to tune in to see this man's cute face right here.
Oh, man, Tyler, you hype me up too much.
Listen,
Way
man,
too much.
you're the star of this, man. You're the star. So I appreciate you coming on every single day
Yeah.
doing this with me.
Sure. No problem. No problem.
Absolutely. But obviously, this is kind of a big week in sports. It's February 10th.
Oh, yeah.
There's a big event coming up this weekend. Maybe you guys have heard of it. It's called the Super Bowl. Not sure if you guys have heard about it before. But my favorite NFL team's playing on it this weekend. That's the first time I've seen it my entire freaking life.
Props to you. Honestly, props to the Bengals, of course. Gotta say it
Absolutely.
again. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. It's a dream come true as a Bengals fan. But I'm not sure if I'll ever see this again in my lifetime. So I'm trying to enjoy every single second of it I get. The Bengals normally are a team that's in the playoffs, winning the playoff games. They're not supposed to be a team in the Super Bowl. Their owner is cheap as can be. They don't have an indoor practice facility. So it's one of those things where I'm just blessed to have the Bengals in this game right now. And I'm just going to enjoy every single second, whether it's Super Bowl media days, the prep rallies, all that. And then obviously the big game on Sunday.
Man, I mean, aside from the big game and stuff, I think leading up to it, how many TikToks I've seen of people just getting behind the Bengals. I mean, I've seen so many just, videos on, Big Joe Burrow, just the Bengals in general. I mean, it's good to see, honestly. I mean, they were at the Cincinnati Bearcats indoor facility.
Yeah, yes,
There.
their bubble.
Yeah. And then, I mean, definitely just saw, I just love how, everyone's getting behind them. It's honestly really cool to see. So for sure.
I agree. It's that team that's not supposed to be there. And I think every Super Bowl, the year's coming, and especially this one, because this one's so star-studded. You got young guys like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, who've been kind of big stars the last few years with the college football landscape, now moving into the NFL landscape. So you're bringing in some audiences that normally wouldn't tune into the Super Bowl, or not just tune into the Super Bowl, but be more invested into it. There's a lot of storylines flying around. So this was kind of hyped up. And obviously with social media, it's always going to keep growing and growing and growing. And I think this Super Bowl is just another example of that. With other platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all those big ones. So it's just going to keep growing. And I hope every single Super Bowl has the same hype as this. Maybe I'm just reading into the hype a little bit differently because my team's in the game. I'm not sure, but I'm loving every single minute of it, whether it's Rams content, Bengals content, Super Bowl content in general. I think it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely excited for this Sunday, so it's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. And, you can't forget about the halftime show. People care about that still.
Oh, yeah.
There's some big time performers. We'll maybe touch on that a little bit later, but the things we care about here is the game. But we'll talk about the performers too, because that definitely is for some people that watch these videos. That's why they may watch Super Bowl. And then obviously, that following week we'll hit up and watch the commercials. We'll give a commercial breakdown. Maybe there's something good. We'll just make some Super Bowl content for you guys, whatever you guys want. And so, but yeah, I would say getting into the Super Bowl, obviously two teams we all know, the Rams, the Buccaneers. Fuck the Rams and the Bengals. What am I thinking, man? The Rams and the Bengals. I'm so used to saying Tom Brady's team. I'm wearing the Michigan shirt. I'm so used to bringing up the Tom Brady's teams.
You're
We're not having
fine.
them here. It's we're not having them
You're
here.
fine. Hey,
But
once in a lifetime thing. You can't blame me for the mistake.
yeah, it's like my entire life. Tom Brady's been there my entire life. It's weird if he's not. So I'm just
Yep.
so used to saying that.
Yep.
But
Yep. Yep.
the Rams and the Bengals, the Cincinnati
There you go.
Bengals.
There
There
you
we
go.
go. We got it out that time. But how are you feeling? What are you looking forward to this game, Kev?
Yeah, yeah. I'm really looking forward to this game. I mean, like you said, you got the Bengals. I I mean, clear to say, the underdogs of this Super Bowl game. I'm really excited for them. Um, from a fan perspective, I really do want to see the Bengals win. I think it'd be awesome to see Cincinnati get a Super Bowl, especially with the run they've been having in the playoffs, the run they've been having in the regular season. Big Joe Burrow in the quarterback position. He's just such a likable guy, honestly. And this is
Absolutely.
completely from a fan's perspective. It's just awesome to see like a team like the Cincinnati Bengals. Honestly, I believe I can relate to with the Colts and stuff.
Mhm.
It's just awesome to see them in there, and I honestly do really want to see them to win. In terms of like the actual game though, um, you know, again, Bengals clearly the underdogs of this game.
They've been all
Um,
year. They've been all postseason. That's kind of been their story, that
yeah,
magical
that's true.
run. It's just the question of when will it come to an end? And
That's
I
true.
hope I hope it's not Sunday night, but it very
That's
well could
true.
be.
And I'm gonna say it like last time I did say the Bengals were gonna get run, but
Mhm.
completely proved me wrong.
It
And
sure was
but
looking like it though. It
oh
sure
yeah, yeah,
was
no,
looking
yeah,
like it.
yeah, for sure. And I wanted to say, Tyler, I told you so, so many times, and I ate my words up at the end. But even though uh, that still did happen,
Mhm.
I'm still gonna have to go with the Rams this game, just coming from like a realistic perspective.
Absolutely.
I just think this is the Rams' year. Um,
Mhm.
Matthew Stafford, you know, what a run that he's had.
Absolutely.
I think he completely deserves that ring this year. I just think that just coming from the last game, I think that the protection that Joe Burrow has, especially with that offensive line, I don't think it's going to be
Mhm.
enough to
Absolutely.
keep him into that game. I think that they do a great job. I just think with such high stakes and uh, the defense that the Rams do have, I just think it's going to be too much for Joe Burrow and the Bengals this year. But I'll be happy to eat my words again. But yeah, that's just
Yeah.
honestly my take.
No, from a realistic standpoint, it on paper, everything points to the Rams winning this ball game. They have the explosive offense. Not saying the Bengals don't, but they have the explosive offense. They have a great quarterback. They have a triple crown winning wide receiver in Cooper Cup. They have other weapons around him like Odell Beckham. And then you got their running back Cam Akers, who's just a bowling ball who can move as fast as he wants and just wreck
Yeah,
defenses. And then obviously their defense is unreal. And that's why everyone's going to
yeah,
pick the Rams in this game, I think, strictly off of the stats and looking at paper, because they have Aaron Donald, arguably the best defensive player in the league.
yeah.
Obviously, in my opinion, I think he's one of the most talented players of our
I
generation on
think
the
so.
defensive side of the
Yeah,
ball. Him and TJ Watt going back and forth, winning the Defensive Player of the Year awards and competing for that, runner up 1A, 1B type players. That he can wreck a game himself on a great offensive line. A great offensive
yeah,
line still puts up fits with Aaron Donald since his rookie season. And now you throw in Super Bowl 50 MVP Von Miller into that mix. He's had a quiet year at times,
yep,
but someone in the Super Bowl who's done it in the big moments can turn up an extra notch, get to that next level for one game, get that ring. You can turn that up. You can turn it up one game.
right.
You can just ball out the adrenaline. You can get into the zone, get some flow going, sports psychology, but just get in the zone and get going. You can just have a great game.
That's true. Yeah,
And though, if you can just get to those two guys in the zone or just playing decent games, above average games for themselves, they're going to give the
yeah,
Bengals fits because not knocking the Titans defensive line, but they are nowhere near as talented as the Los Angeles Rams defensive line. It's not even close. Everybody and their mother would pick the Los Angeles Rams defensive line. So that's where it's going to get very scary for the Bengals, I think, this weekend.
Yeah.
Can you keep Joe Burrow upright? How many times can Joe Burrow run away? We saw against the Chiefs, and every single game he plays since he's been with the Bengals, he's jumping over arms, just evading the pocket, moving around, slipping through, getting rocked, but somehow staying up on his feet, avoiding that second hit. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. I think he might get killed a couple of times. Just saying that. He can get killed. He can get shot multiple times back there. I think the Rams are going to get 5-6 sacks on them. I hate to say it. I'm a Bengals fan. I want them to win, but everything's pointing against them. I just don't know how to feel.
Yeah. No, I totally understand. I think especially the class we've been taking, sports psychology. I think it would be super interesting to see how some of the terms do play out. I mean, you do need to get in that flow, and it is super easy to get into I don't know, like a habit of you have that one mess up, and that's all it takes sometimes. I mean, yeah, we saw it in the last game. I mean, you honestly just need one play. Just one slip up, and that could cost you the game. So I could honestly totally see the game going either way.
I agree. It's just going to be one of those things where you're watching this game, you're waiting for that play. I feel you're just be waiting for that moment. It may not be the first sack on Joe Burrow, or it may not be the first play on defense the Bengals make, but it's going to be that one, because this game's going to be going back and forth. Momentum's going to be switching around like crazy. It's just about and it. I don't know how to describe it, but that feeling, you're sitting on the couch watching this game, you're in the bar watching this game, you're at Beato's, wherever you are, that one play you see it on the TV, that's the one. That's what's going to change this ball game. And it's going to be a matter of who makes that play. In my opinion, it's going to be Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Cooper Kupp, one of those three for the Rams. And if it's on the Bengals, it's going to be a heroic play by Joe Burrow, evading the pressure, throwing one up to somebody for a first down, a crucial first down, not just a first down, but a crucial one late. Or maybe making a touchdown pass, or maybe getting that crucial first down with his legs. There's going to be that one play somewhere in this game that's going to change it all. Because I do think this game will be tight, because the Bengals defense has been stepping up in situations, especially after the first half. Maybe the first half looks ugly for the Bengals, but they're a second half team. They can adjust. They let up so few points in the second half.
I agree.
So we can see that happen potentially. But I think in the second half, it'll be very early in the third quarter where the game switches one way, where one team maybe potentially starts dominating the other. And I think if that does happen early in the third quarter, I think it's the Rams that make that big play early on. But if there's no big play throughout the third quarter and the game's tight, I think the Bengals will make that play. There's nothing on paper that says you should pick the Bengals to win this game, or you should bank on the Bengals and make that play. But we've all watched this postseason. It's about feel. It's about guts.
It is.
And this Bengals team has it. This Bengals team has it. There's that it factor, that swagger, that something, that little something extra that most people don't have, that multiple players on this Bengals team have. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase have that. So I think you just got to wait around for one thing to happen. And maybe it comes down late. Evan McPherson stepping up, maybe hit a 45, 50-yard field goal. It's going to be something there where one player rises to the occasion. Because I'd say both these teams, you look at the Rams, they're going to be the better team on paper, in my opinion. I think in everyone's opinion, they'll say that. But you have to account for some of these Bengals emotional wins, that hotness, that streak, whatever that extra it factor is, kind of boost them up, makes this game very even. Where you can't say that about some of these past mismatches and matchups we see. Because most Super Bowls, you could kind of lean, the public is very heavy on one team, or Vegas is very heavy on one team. I haven't looked at the score lines, but I'd say this game is going to be no more than 7.5, 8 points when we come to look at the line here in a little bit if we check that out. This game's going to be a tight ball game. It's going to come down to a late score by one team, I think. I don't think this game gets ugly like the Chiefs game with the Bengals. I think this game stays very tight and close, personally, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I do like the way you said it. The Bengals do have that swagger. You don't see it with a lot of the teams. And like I said, just even like the public getting behind them, I think that honestly gives them such
absolutely helps them. It helps them. They're able to play free.
Yeah, it really does. And I think, yeah, I mean, that's honestly what they need just to succeed. I think, yeah, they just need that one play. They have to bank on that one play, and
Mhm.
they do have that grit. So I'm super excited to see what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
I do believe it's going to be close as well. But I think the momentum will have to shift either late in the third quarter
Mhm.
or going to that half. So yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's gonna be a very tight ball game all around. It's just gonna come down to one unit. Maybe it's the special teams making a big time
Mm,
play, or lack thereof a play. Um, Matt Gay, he's struggled this postseason. It's very uncharacteristic of a
yeah.
team to make it this far, to have a kicker that struggles like he does. Not knock him. I'd say he's a top 25 kicker in this league. Um, but he's missed some chip shots. He pushed some kicks wide right. Just in a game, especially the Super Bowl, 3 points or a possession where you have all the momentum. You make a big play on defense. You drive down the field and you get stopped on third down. So it's fourth down. You got a kick. You're like, hey, we just salvaged 3 points. We stole a possession. We're going to get ahead now. And you miss it, and that's a turnover. Then the momentum goes to the other teams. Like, yep, we made that play. Let's go. Let's get back after it. That mistake didn't cost us.
Hmm.
So it's going to be very interesting watching this game. And another thing as well, the Rams, their lack of fan base, their lack of ability to get fans to their games.
Mm,
So
that's true.
I don't know how well Bengals fans travel because we haven't seen this too often. They travel well to the local games, but I'm sure some Bengals fans are going to turn up to this game,
Oh,
whether
I'm sure.
that's just being around the local area, and hopefully buying tickets to this game, because
Yeah.
I think they will, because they've never been here before. And maybe St. Louis gets some, like the Los Angeles Rams get that St. Louis population, that St. Louis fan base they have. But I'm not sure if they do, because a lot of St. Louis looks at them like, really, you left us to go to LA? Like, really?
Hmm.
They kind of feel
Yeah.
disgusted by that. So I don't think they have many fans that would want to travel. So it's all about the people in LA turning out to this game. I think there
Mm,
might be a lot of LA people at this game, but I'm not sure if the LA people are truly Rams fans.
mm,
It may be like the LA celebrities, or like the big shots, the big stars, the business moguls, things like
yeah.
that, where they just always go to the Super Bowl no matter where it is. And especially now it's in their hometown or their
Right.
home area. So
Right.
I'm not sure. It's going to be one of those things very early on. You can tell which team has the home field advantage almost. Because I feel like this Super Bowl, unlike others, isn't going to be a 50-50 split. I think it's going to be heavy one way or the other. And I'm not
Mm,
sure which way it's going to go. If I was a
yeah.
betting man and I had to put money on it, I'd say Bengals, but I'm really not sure. I think it's truly a toss up.
Yeah, that's a fair point, honestly. I think, the atmosphere does make up a part of the game. I think it's just something that's not really talked about. That atmosphere,
Mhm.
having fans behind you as well. That just it could shift the momentum at any time in the game,
Yeah.
honestly. So it's going to be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, see, especially if you have, let's say the Bengals have more of their Bengals fans, maybe whatever nerves they have, they get calmed down a little bit.
Mm,
Or maybe the Rams, they have more fans, their nerves get calmed down. It's gonna be weird to see how that works. And another thing with the Bengals, they're so young. Everybody's talking about how young they are. And all the big time analysts are gonna say this, what they don't know, can't hurt you. And I think everybody's been kind of on that same page. And it doesn't take a genius or an ESPN, Fox, NBC analyst to point that out. We all kind of know they're able to play free because they don't have some of those battle scars where, oh no, like I can't lose this game or I can't make this play. They don't know what it's like to lose in the
mm,
playoffs. They don't know that. So
they
I think it's
don't.
good,
Yeah.
kind of an advantage, but it's also like you look at them like, oh, they're inexperienced. But I think this team is inexperienced in a very positive fashion, where some teams, if they're inexperienced, they let that crumble and they get to them. So I think the Bengals have a strong shot in this game. And I'll pull up here and we can start looking at the betting lines.
Oh yeah.
Just so we can get an idea of what Vegas is thinking here. Because I truly don't know what Vegas is going to be saying about this ball game here.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
It's going to
I
be
think if they're
very
using
interesting.
the same the thoughts that we have, I think it honestly could go either way.
Absolutely. Vegas wants to protect their money. Vegas, Vegas doesn't make money by giving away money. They don't get to build those big towers by giving away money. So they're gonna have to be checking that out.
Uh-huh.
And they know. They always have somebody that knows, whether it's a time traveler, the guy that writes The Simpsons, or
Sure.
what. So it's gonna be somebody who knows what's going on.
Yep.
So, in your opinion, Kev, who are you thinking in this game is going to be the biggest like X factor for each team? If the Bengals were to win, who's that X factor for them? It doesn't have to be Joe Burrow. It could be somebody, maybe a hidden gem for each team. Like, who are you thinking for this game? Or it can
Yeah,
be
for
Joe
sure.
Burrow if you think that is who it will be.
Hidden gem.
Yeah, or hidden gem, or just somebody that you know is like that guy is going to potentially be the reason they win this game.
Hmm. I think that is a good question. I think for the Rams, hmm. I'm
I
just
say,
gonna say somebody on defense, just because I think that's sometimes overlooked. I think Aaron Donald, definitely in that defensive line or just in the defense, just gonna. I think he's just gonna overload that Rams offense or the Bengals offensive line in general the whole game. I think it's just gonna be causing problems. I think I think things should be a little bit too much for that offensive line. I think he's just gonna command that defense. I just really I think shift the game in my opinion.
Yeah, it can change the whole outlook. It can dominate. That defense line could dominate the game.
I honestly that's it's just like a totally feasible thing. So
Absolutely.
I could totally see that for sure. On the Bengals side, hidden gem. That's on the Bengals side. I think it's just gonna have to be.
Yeah,
Bengals.
it's
I think it's
tough.
gonna be. Yeah, no, it is tough because I could honestly say anyone, and
Mm-hmm.
give me a reasoning for that. It's just tough to pick one person,
Mm-hmm.
honestly.
I agree, especially with the
Yeah, I
Bengals.
mean,
Their offense has been very balanced, and they've showed they
it
can
hasn't.
be.
No, yeah,
Because everyone's going to
yeah,
say, "Oh, it's like Burrow, Jamar Chase." Like obviously Burrow because he's the quarterback of the team, but Jamar Chase in that Chiefs game kind
yeah,
of was non-existent. Not saying he had a bad game, but just the Chiefs played that good of defense against him. So I think you're not wrong by having a struggle on the Bengals picking it because you're
mhm,
not sure. It's kind of a toss
mhm.
up. And what's crazy, we've made it this far in the conversation without talking about Jalen Ramsey of the Los
I
Angeles
think, yeah,
Rams. We haven't talked about him once, and he is probably the best corner in the entire league,
that is true. That is
which is
true.
wild. Which is wild that in a game like this, you're not talking about the best
No,
corner in the league in a very passing heavy off. Like they're facing a very passing heavy offense, the Bengals, and we haven't said one single word about their corner. But I think that speaks to the levels of how elite that Rams defensive line is.
right. Yeah, yeah. I totally agree. That's totally my fault for totally forgetting that.
No, I
But
forgot too. I've kind of was
yeah,
sitting here blanking about it, but I was just trying to think of like when I asked you the question, when I tried to figure it out myself or answer it myself, who could it be? And I'm sitting
that's
there, I'm like, let's think corners. I'm like, oh my God, Jalen Ramsey. We forgot about him. And I haven't heard anybody in the media as well talk
no,
about him. Nobody has.
nope.
And you could say he's the best corner in the league. And if he's not number one, he's top three. He's top five, like top five at a bare minimum. Like
Right,
you say Jalen Ramsey's the fifth best corner in the league, I'm gonna look at you funny, but I'm not gonna argue with you. But if you say he's not top five, I'm gonna say you don't know lick about football. It's
right,
crazy. We've made it this far, and everybody has. It's Thursday and Super Bowl's on Sunday, and not a single person has really talked about uh, Jalen Ramsey in this
no,
in that matchup, whether it's him manning up Jamar or him just dropping back in coverage in general. The best corner in the league has yet to be talked about, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I think it's a good point. I think it's a good point. I think that I just don't know which receiver is going to cover. I think Bengals do have good receivers as well.
Mhm.
T. Higgins needs to be cause a problem.
I agree. I
Uh,
think that's a good if you want to make that like your X factor player.
yeah, sure.
I
Honestly
could
think I
not
will.
blame you. I could not blame you for that pick at all.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be an interesting matchup if we see them two go against each other. So, really just like questions that what type of offense the Bengals are gonna run this
I
game.
agree.
So
It's tough. It's tough in my opinion, because the Bengals, what's gotten him here is that elite passing game.
yeah,
That's
right.
your strength. But you got to keep Joe Burrow upright. and you can't be getting behind the sticks all the time. So the Bengals offensive line does a great job in the run game. And I'm going to say it again. It's going to sound like it's repetitive, but the Bengals got to be able to establish the run, whether that's early and often or very late. But I think, in my opinion, you got to get a run, maybe on first down or second down, where if you get behind the sticks, because that can put you ahead of the sticks. So you can take some of those more big shot plays or those chance plays. But if you're going to pass the ball, in my opinion, you got to respect that D line and get it out quick, or just find ways to get the ball to your stars. So it's going to show Zach Taylor's creativity here, working alongside the offense, just trying to figure out what they can do, because that game plan is going to be essential. And having the ability to adjust if said game plan gets flipped upside down, flipped on its head where they're struggling. And Vegas as well is kind of where we are with this, talking about how it's a 3.5-point favorite. The Rams are. Well, this game is supposed to be tight, and the over-under is 48.5. So they're saying it's going to be like a 27, 21-ish ball game, 28, 24, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what I was thinking. It's very interesting to see how this would go. It's going to be very interesting. In my personal opinion, I'm leaning the Bengals just because I think that magic will last.
Okay.
But it's tough. If we're talking gambling, I think the Bengals cover this. I think it's going to be a game where the winner of this ball game is going to be the Bengals by 7, the Bengals by a field goal late, or the Rams are going to get a field goal to go ahead. It might be one of those ball games that comes down to that last possession. It's like kind of cheesy how we always say that, but it really will, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially, and obviously we saw last time with the Bengals going out there against the Chiefs, don't write them off early if the game gets kind of ugly, because that defense will adjust. But I have to lean the Bengals to have that hot hand. They have the magic. Obviously, both teams are hot because they made it here. But the Bengals story of getting here, they're not supposed to be here, kind of helps me pick them because they have that underdog mentality. They were play a bit looser, where the Rams, they were supposed to be here. They went all in this year with Matthew Stafford to get here. So if they don't win this, it's kind of a bust of a season. Where the Bengals, they've already crossed their ceiling. They're above their ceiling. They're farther than anybody would have expected them to be.
Yeah, for sure.
As a Bengals fan, I've just been happy them making the playoffs this year, maybe getting a win at most, really. Especially in year 2 of Joe Burrow. My opinion, year 1, because he wasn't able to play a lot last year with his knee injury. But I hope that the Bengals are able to win this game. I think the key player, X factor, in my opinion, it's going to be Joe Burrow. And, man, it's tough. I would say T. Higgins. I'm going to jump on your bandwagon if you saying that, because we saw him arise late in that game when Uzama went down. Once he went down with that injury, because T. Higgins caused nightmares for people because he's so big and long coming across the middle on those slant routes, in routes, and little drags, or even maybe a shallow post. I think we would see him make some big plays for them. On defense, I think if it's going to be somebody for the Bengals, it's going to be Trey Hendrickson. He's been great off the edge. Trey Hendrickson, just kind of that guy, old school defensive end, going to get after the passer, no gloves, no nothing, no sleeves, maybe finger tape at most. Like, he's just one of those old school guys who's going to probably show up in the big moment, in my opinion. I think that's what's going to happen. If the Bengals lose this game, hear me now, it's Eli Apple's fault. Nobody else's fault. I don't care if the Bengals offense doesn't score a single point. It's Eli Apple's fault. Everybody hates Eli Apple. Start the petition. Get Eli Apple out of Cincy, whatever it is. I swear to God, if I see the Bengals, if they win the Super Bowl and I see Eli Apple post something stupid on Instagram or Twitter, I might not be a Bengals fan anymore because of that man. Whatever it is, we got to get him out. We got to get him out. The Saints hate him. The Giants hate him. I hate him. Bengals fans hate him. He's talking all that trash to Tyreek Hill, McCole Hardman, all these guys, where he got burnt religiously all season long, all game long, all career long. He's made a career out of getting burnt and making tackles after it. So I hope he has a great game. But if the Bengals lose, he's the reason why the Bengals lose, in my opinion. Call me a hater, call me whatever. It's Eli Apple's fault. I think everybody who's a Bengals fan has my back with this one.
So you think despite the score line, is he staying next year? I think it's the bigger question than whoever's going to win the Super Bowl.
Man, I get that. I think it's the bigger question as well. I think the obvious answer. The obvious answer is get him out. I mean, we just gotta look at his contract. He signed a 1 year, $1.2 million free agent contract with the Bengals in March. So thank God he's a free agent. Somebody else pick him up. Steelers pick him up. Browns pick him up. Ravens pick him up. Somebody that we're going to play twice a year. Someone that will play twice a year that Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd can just cook up, and Joe Burrow can dice and slice. Send him to somebody in the AFC North. Get rid of him. Get him gone. He's going to be the reason why the Bengals lose this game. The Bengals lose, in my opinion.
Hey, no, totally fair. Totally fair. I love seeing all the Twitter stuff, honestly. You're coming from a guy that doesn't even like the Bengals, so
Like there are people
hilarious.
there are people like outright rooting against the Bengals because of one man. They said if I had to root against the Bengals, it's because of Eli Apple,
Right?
which is unreal. Which is unreal in my opinion. I can't remember.
Can you blame him?
No, I can't. I can't blame him. I almost want to root against the Bengals because of him, but if I do that, I know the Bengals won't win. Right. I don't think there's been a more hated figure in sports. It sounds very crazy to say this. Everybody hated Tom Brady, except for me. I love Tom Brady. Go Blue. But I mean, everybody hates Eli Apple. I think that's something we can get behind here. I think everybody hates Eli Apple. Personal take, my hot take, maybe, but I think everybody hates Eli Apple.
I think that can be. I think a lot of people will agree with you. So
yeah. So it's going to be an interesting ball game. It's going to be big time. It's going to be prime time television, obviously. It's going to be a must-watch game. I think this game could be something that's remembered for generations upon generations. You know, in my dreams, this is just the first story, the first step, maybe the second chapter of Joe Burrow's Hall of Fame career, star-studded career on his way to getting a gold jacket, in my opinion. But we have to tune in on Sunday to find out.
See. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Because speaking of gold jackets and Hall of Fame, this is Matthew Stafford's true, like, last chance-ish to kind of book himself a spot into the Hall of Fame. Because if he loses this game, it's tough. I don't know if he'd make it. I want to see him in the Hall of Fame. I'm a Matthew Stafford guy. I've been a big supporter of his. But if you don't win the Super Bowl, it's tough, you know, a guy who's had a great career. Don't knock him for that. He's had a great career. He played in Detroit. Nobody wants to be in Detroit. But unfortunately, he's never been able to win in the playoffs until this year. And if he doesn't get a Super Bowl ring, who's to say he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? You can say, yeah, he was very talented and he was good, but he needs something that's going to make him great. Yeah. And I think this game is that time where his career, not his career, but his legacy is on the line, in my opinion.
I think it's a fair statement. I do like what you said. Like, I mean, no doubt he's very talented. But I mean, he just hasn't had that team until this year, you know, to carry him throughout the playoffs. So I think I do agree with you. You know, it sucks to say, but part of his legacy is on the line right now.
I agree. It's gonna be very interesting to see. I think this game, Matthew Stafford rises to the occasion. I think he really does. I think he balls out even in a loss. I think if he has a ball out performance where he's just like, you can look at him like, that guy's on fire, he's killing it, that's Matthew Stafford. You can say, all right, that's a Hall of Fame quarterback in my opinion. So I hope he makes it there. I hope he does. I hope he does that. And in a loss, I think if he kills it and wins, I think we could see him get into that Hall of Fame. But if he doesn't win this game and he has a kind of just a tiny performance, doesn't really play well, or just has a average game, he might end up losing this. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes.
Yeah, for sure.
But moving in, you know, with the 3.5 point favorite with the Bengals, it's going to be interesting. Favorite with the Rams.